This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome to the Special Chronicles show. My name is Daniel Spakowski, and I'm the founder of Special Chronicles and a Southern Tribal International Global Messenger with Special Olympics. And this week, we are going to share with you a speech that I gave as I kicked off the storytelling session at the 2023 Special Olympics Global Youth Leadership Summit, recorded from Berlin, Germany. Michael Joni, as the founder and leader of this award-winning Special Chronicles podcast that you're listening to right now, it touches thousands of people each month. My story served as a powerful reminder of to the youth leaders that hard work and perseverance can turn the seemingly impossible into reality. I shared what you're about to hear is how I shared that even though communications can be challenging, it can also be your strength. Everyone has a story to tell, and together we can show the world that we are unbeatable together. And so now I present to you the speech that I gave at the Global Youth Leadership Summit in Berlin, Germany, right here on SpecialChronicles.com.
Okay, hi everyone. We're starting. Okay, I'm excited to introduce you to Daniel Smorkowski. Daniel is an award-winning and veteran podcaster, columnist, and an acclaimed advocate, telling disability stories on his groundbreaking global platform Special Chronicles, reaching thousands of people each month. As a digital media creator, he produces podcasts, videos, blogs, columns, and public speaking to give respect and voice to people with special needs. Daniel educates and informs our communities that those with different abilities bring unconditional love and joy every day. Even though communication is Daniel's biggest struggle, it has been his biggest passion. Let's give a warm introduction to Daniel.
Thank you, Luca and Gianluca. Honored to be here today. Every one of you has a story to tell. Even if communication and storytelling is challenging for you, your story and your voice matters. We all have challenges. For me, one of my biggest challenges is that people didn't always understand my speech. I often have to repeat things over and over and over. Sometimes, if there was a difficult word to say, I have to quickly think of an easier word to say. And with these language difficulties, people think I'm stupid. So some of you may be able to relate to having challenges in communications, right? Communication is my biggest struggle, but it's also my biggest passion. Communication, as everyone knows, is one of the most important means to relate to each other as humans. And that's why this session today on how to use your project in telling your story is so important. I challenge you all to think about your story and think about what will you do to overcome your challenges and rise to success. Just like I have never given up from defeating my challenges and rising to success, I hope you will continue to rise up to be the best leader that you can be, the best unified leader that you can be. My personal mission in life is to educate and inform our community that those of us with different abilities bring unconditional love and joy every day to share our stories. Athlete leadership, like many or most of us in Special Olympics, how many athletes are here in the room? And what about unified partners? I started participating in swimming and basketball. And at first, sports was a way to make friends. Which I'm sure many of you, when you got involved in your Unified Sports program, have made friends, athletes and unified partners working together. And then athlete leadership became a new way to be involved in the movement. And my life was never the same. Athlete leadership, which at first was mostly given speeches and sharing my story and doing meet and greets, ties in perfectly with my new love of podcasting. In 2008, I started a podcast called Special Chronicles, which developed into a storytelling platform that creates awareness, that gives respect and voice to those of us with special needs. Since then, Special Chronicles has grown in the past 15 years to be both a weekly podcast and a podcasting platform. Special Chronicles, this is an award-winning podcast, columns, blogs, live stream videos that has reached thousands of people each month globally. In fact, so many of you have your phones out on your tables. You can even scan the QR code that is here on the table to listen or subscribe to my podcast. Many of the people I've interviewed have shared their stories on the podcast and are proud of our Special Olympics movement, either as athletes, unified partners, coaches, volunteers, family members, staff, sponsors, and even youth leaders like yourselves. And with the successes I've had, I try to bring my friends along for the ride. For example, I have mentored other athlete leaders through athlete leadership training. On my Special Chronicles podcast platform, I try to give opportunities to other Special Olympics athletes to share their stories, to take over as host of podcasts, write blogs on specialchronicles.com, and to be featured on their own shows. For example, athlete Katie Sanchez from New York in the United States has written blogs on specialchronicles.com. My girlfriend Georgia, who has Down syndrome, hosts her own cooking show and co-hosts the Georgia and Daniel show, which sometimes I kind of have to let her talk a little bit more on the show. But you can also listen to the Georgia and Daniel show by scanning the QR code. And for my own program in Special Olympics Illinois, athlete leaders Lisa and Cote co-host the Amazing Individuals show on my podcasting platform.
During this afternoon's storytelling session here at the Global Youth Leadership Summit, I hope all of you athletes and unified partners will each remember that even though telling your story and communication can be difficult, you can use that challenge to be your strength. So think about your story today. Think about the challenges that you have and how you can rise to success. Every one of you has a story to tell, and your story can impact the Special Olympics movement and society overall. Together, we can show the world that we are unbeatable together and that we can lead to include, and that you can be the leaders of the next generation. So think about your story and remember that you can take your challenges, rise to success, and share your story to make an impact in this movement. We now pass it back to Luca, and Gianluca, thank you for having me.
Support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. As an independent public media podcast, Special Chronicles will always be there for you. Now we're asking you to be there for us. As a nonprofit independent media organization, we can only make programs like Special Chronicles with listener support. Our programs provide weekly, candid, honest, and inspiring conversations about the people with disabilities community that creates awareness, support, and advocacy within each week's episode. Listeners tell us our shows are an enjoyable and necessary podcast for the intellectual and developmental disability community and everyone else who is able to listen to stories about life from a different angle. Please, if you and your family love our weekly podcasts, make a one-time, monthly, or annual gift of thanks today. Support this podcast at specialchronicles.com/give. That's specialchronicles.com/give. Support for Special Chronicles comes from ComEd. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with the ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program. The Energy Force is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. ComEd is powering lives, and Wary is powering us here at Special Chronicles to keep the lights on and our technology is powered on. As ComEd powers the lives of us, they are literally giving a voice to people with special needs. We thank ComEd for the generous support of our mission at Special Chronicles. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. That's specialchronicles.com/ComEd. Support for Special Chronicles comes from United Airlines Bridge Disability Business Resource Group. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with United Airlines and the Bridge BLG. Bridge BLG is committed to being an ally for all employees and customers with disabilities. Bridge helps to create internal awareness to keep accessibility needs in mind and partner with key organizations to empower disability inclusion for employment and travel. Bridge, connecting people of all abilities. Book your travel today on United.com or on the award-winning United app. Learn more on United's commitment to disability inclusion for employment and travel at specialchronicles.com/United. That's specialchronicles.com/United. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting, the easiest, most affordable option to get started in podcasting. At Special Chronicles, we proudly host our weekly podcast with Podbean and highly recommend you use Podbean Podcast Hosting to get started in podcasting today. Sign up for an unlimited hosting plan and get 1 month free now to get started in podcasting today when you visit specialchronicles.com/podbean. That's specialchronicles.com/podbean. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard, the easiest way to create professional live streams. StreamYard is a live streaming studio in your browser. Interview guests, share your screen, and much more. Stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and other platforms. Sign up for StreamYard today using our StreamYard referral link when you visit specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality,
dignity,
and the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
I hope that you have enjoyed this speech as I kicked off the storytelling session at the 2023 Special Olympics Global Youth Leadership Summit. Recorded from Berlin, Germany. If you want to watch this 10 minute speech, you can watch the full video on YouTube, which I've included a link in the show notes on episode 535. So wherever you listen to this, on specialchronicles.com, Apple Podcasts, wherever, just click the link in the show notes for the full video version of this speech, if you would like to watch. We'll be back next week with as we hear from the speech I gave at the Coca-Cola luncheon in Berlin, and then at the end of the month of July we will hear the panel discussion that I hosted after the Berlin screening of the documentary film All You Can Hear Is Noise. And so stay tuned. Every week, new episodes of this podcast drop. So remember to stay subscribed, follow this podcast on specialchronicles.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You can sign up for our newsletter and follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those places. You can find all those links on specialchronicles.com. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll be back next week with another episode recorded from Berlin, Germany, right here on specialchronicles.com. And until then, remember, lead to include, or choose to include. Catch you next week. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smukowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks as always to our business manager, Adam Smukowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smukowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.